If you were standing exactly where this drone is flying just 6 months ago, you'd be treading water. This solid ground didn't exist. It was the bottom of the Singapore Strait. As a tiny island nation with almost no natural resources, Singapore relies on global trade for economic survival. Moving cargo is how the country stays alive. But by the early 2000s, an engineering hurdle emerged. Container ships doubled in size. Singapore's legacy ports were built for smaller vessels, and these new ships pushed the existing infrastructure to its physical capacity. That bottleneck came with an immediate economic cost. In 2010, Shanghai officially overtook Singapore as the busiest port on Earth. Singapore responded with a $20 billion plan to consolidate all 5 of its existing ports into a single, automated megaport. There was only one obstacle: they had no available land to build it on. They couldn't optimize their current footprint any further. To accommodate the next generation of shipping, Singapore decided to manufacture the geography they needed straight out of the ocean. The massive reclamation process started in 2015. Over the course of the project, engineering teams dredged hundreds of millions of cubic meters of sand from the deep seabed. That dredged sand is pumped to shore, mixed with seawater into a thick slurry, and sprayed over the site. Over time, the new land rises out of the sea. But you can't build heavy infrastructure on fresh, wet sand. To solve this, engineers use wick drains, vertical tubes punched into the earth to accelerate water drainage. Next comes surcharge loading. Extra weight is piled on top of the new land. This compresses the ground beneath, squeezing trapped water up through those drains and out. To fill out the rest of the site, the government used excavated earth and recycled construction waste from across the city as fill material. That single decision saved them $2 billion. What they are creating is a stable foundation. Because they engineered it from scratch, they raised the entire site 5 meters above sea level to ensure it survives the sea level changes expected over the next century. Unprotected sand will wash back out with the tide. To lock the new landmass in place, they needed a seawall built out of 221 massive concrete structures called caissons. These caissons are staggeringly huge. Each one is hollow, stands 10 stories tall, weighs 15,000 tons, and holds more steel than a small bridge. Because they are hollow, tugboats float them out to the perimeter. Once positioned over a prepared rock bed, valves open and the caissons sink slowly to the sea floor, forming a continuous barrier. Before the physical port is even built on top, the underground nervous system is laid down. They lay down heavy power grids, install deep water mains, and a private 5G network, all buried beneath a 600mm engineered base layer. This 414-hectare expanse operates like a computer motherboard, designed specifically to support a fleet of heavy, fully autonomous machines. In a conventional shipping port, you expect diesel engines roaring and trucks honking. At the operational section of this new site, known as Tuas Port, it is eerily silent. The ground operations are handled by a fleet of 1,000 automated guided vehicles. These battery-powered transports navigate using magnetic nails embedded in the pavement, meaning zero fuel, zero emissions, and zero drivers. Above them, massive double trolley cranes coal cargo directly off the ships. One trolley lifts the container, and the other hands it off to a waiting AGV. The entire transfer takes 20 seconds, and no human guidance is involved. This chart shows the projected capacity of the finished Tuas port, compared against the current limits of top global competitors. By the 2040s, this massive machine will process 65 million containers a year across an area the size of Monaco. Moving trade to this one location gives Singapore a massive domestic payoff. It allows them to systematically close down their 5 old ports, freeing up huge sections of the city's southern coast. That process returns 1,000 hectares of prime real estate back to the public. In a country with limited land, that translates to thousands of homes, vast public parks, and redesigned urban waterfronts. Singapore expanded its borders and secured its economic future by manufacturing the land it needed from the ocean floor. They proved that when a nation runs out of space, it can simply build the sea.